Welcome back. You're watching Cheche. Today's guest is Justice David Maraga. He is responsible for the judiciary's preparations for the elections next year. Let's focus on some solutions now. You've done your strategic planning. You've talked about your weaknesses, some of the threats, some of which include impunity, which you've talked about, no respect for court orders. There's also the issue of your own security, given that these are highly politicized judgments. So in terms of credibility, given that, there's waning public confidence, how do you think that we can restore confidence in the judiciary?
I think I want to appeal to the Kenyans to be patient with the judiciary, to be patient with us. Don't take, like now, is the entire judiciary is being blamed on what some people feel that was not a very good judgment, the Supreme Court judgment. You can't take one case and condemn an entire institution. First of all, let us understand that the judiciary...
More than one case, though.
Okay. Let us understand that the judiciary is the custodian of the Constitution. Complaints are brought to the judiciary has got to address them about the violation of human rights and so forth. So when you come out condemning the judiciary simply because maybe you have lost or you feel it was not very well done and all that, you should have at the back of your mind what you are doing to the institution. You are coming back yourself for another case, and this is the same judiciary you are condemning all over. It is not right. It is not fair in my view. Let's be objective and give the judiciary.
The public would say the judiciary should conduct itself above suspicion.
I agree.
Then you will not have negative criticism.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's too hard or such a high request to ask of the judiciary.
Yes, but don't forget that the judiciary is manned by human beings. Your brothers and sisters who are there. So when you find a few errant judges or magistrates, you should not condemn the entire institution because of that.
Someone agrees with you.
The judiciary is a system, is a chain.
Yes.
We have lawyers in the judiciary. We have judicial staff, like clerks and whatever, the staff that work there.
Yeah.
You vetted the judges and magistrates.
Yes.
You didn't vet the lawyers, you didn't vet the judicial staff.
Yeah.
You know, the Sholai type of people in court.
Yeah.
How can you have a fair judicial justice system when those chains are broken?
Yes. The judiciary has no direct control over the lawyers. The lawyers, if you have any complaints, take it to the Law Society. They have a disciplinary committee that deals with them, and I'm sure you are aware of very many cases that have been taken there. The only control the judiciary can have over lawyers is with regard to the cases they have brought to court. And of course, what they can do is to tell them, look, proceed with your matter or it will be dismissed. That's the kind of control the judiciary can have, and of course demand that the cases are handled with decorum. The other staff, of course, I agree with you that there are quite a number of staff members, court clerks, clerical staff, who are also involved. Some of them have been found involved in corruption. You know, they will tell parties that, look, you want this matter sorted out, I will want to talk to such and such a judge. We have had those kind of cases, and where there is evidence, most of those, quite a number of those people have been dismissed.
And that's what our viewers say. Just a minute, this is what our viewers are saying. Judiciary must do more in the fight against corruption. It's the last bullet in this fight. We want to see the corrupt in jails and more assets being recovered. That's Ayub in Eldoret. I must say the judiciary is definitely not taking the people's time seriously. We've had a case in court for the last 15 years. The person who filed the petition has actually passed on. Why are Kenyan courts fair with rich people's cases while they have direct judgment with poor people's cases? I think they're trying to say that poor people don't get fair judgments. Is this good, Mr. Chair? That's Ruben in Makulende. And only one person says has a compliment for you. Great work. It's good to know that wonderful work is going on in the judiciary. It's a breath of fresh air. We need to hear more of such achievements, and that's Anna in Nairobi.
Thank you.
So this perception that quality justice is reserved for the wealthy and denied
the poor. I have already addressed that. The judiciary doesn't favor the rich. The judiciary doesn't favor the rich. It's only that sometimes you find that the rich have come, and because of what? The nature of the cases. There are quite a number of cases which are not heard as quickly as possible, involving quite a number of rich people. We have had cases pending, like estate matters of important personalities, pending in court for many years. As I told you, it is a system with quite a number of players who create the delay.
Okay, so let's look ahead then to...
Do you have the cases of lost files anymore?
Those ones have been minimized.
Okay. Let's come back to the elections and what to expect ahead of 2017. One of the threats highlighted in your strategic planning report is the politicization of your election dispute process. How are you addressing that?
You know, election petitions are fundamentally political issues. In other countries like Germany and in America and Latin America, they are handled by politicians themselves. In Germany, they go to parliament. You file your petition in parliament and it is dealt with your colleagues. But that is not the case in Kenya. In Kenya, it is by the constitution, they have to be dealt with by the court. So those are political issues. But the court is alive to the fact that these are political issues, and you deal with them in that kind of framework.
What about go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so we are managing and we are dealing with them quite well. One of the things we are preparing, I'm sure it is common knowledge that there is quite a lot of interest now, and in 2017, the 2017 general election is going to be extremely competitive at all levels.
Yeah. Yes.
At all levels. My committee is aware of that. So we have we have actually making recommendations to the Judicial Service Commission to increase the number of judges and magistrates so that they are able to cope with that, particularly the number of magistrates. What we are trying to do is the Judicial Service Commission has asked us to find out whether we have a figure of how many magistrates they should employ, and
these people all need to be trained around elections.
Exactly. So we are working on that, and I'm sure it is going to be
your own safety, your security around these disputes and impunity.
Yes.
How are you addressing that?
We have taken the matter up with the Commissioner of Police, with the Commissioner General of the Police, particularly in some hot spots. The committee is identifying those hot spots where the judicial officers must be given security, because that's extremely important. So that's one of the issues that we are addressing. Parliament and the tendency to rush through legislation towards the end of parliamentary life, and that's also identified. How are you dealing with that, legislative amendments? There is not much we can do. We don't have control over Parliament.
But do you engage them?
We engage them. The committee on the Justice and the Legal Affairs Committee, we have quite very good relationship. We are addressing some of these issues. That's why we have come up very early. One of the things we want, I think even IEBC has made, is the period for nomination. That's one issue that gave us a lot of headache. The nominations are done at the last, on the 11th hour, if you want to call it so. That does not give even the party themselves time to address grievances. So what you find is that people come to court, and we have the Political Parties Act, which says, look, you can't come to court, you can't even go to the political tribunal before you exhaust the party machinery. One of the things that I think the parties themselves should address is the dispute resolution mechanism within the parties. A few of the constitutions I've looked at have no workable dispute resolution mechanism, and that leaves people dissatisfied and very, very very angry with their actions. So those are among the things. We observe and tell them, look, why don't you do this? But we have no control over the parties. That has to be dealt with by the parties themselves and the registrar of political parties. Yeah. So
we're winding up now.
Yes.
And I'd like to seek the opinion of the panelists. There's been quite... First of all, remind our viewers about the reasons for the declining confidence in judiciary. David Mutegi.
Well, I think it has to do with the continuing, and that's why when Judge Maraga said that the vetting was effective, I was like, how can it have been effective? It's still even going on, and we are already discussing about the lack of confidence, about corruption, integrity issues in the judiciary, which the vetting should have eliminated. So that's really part of the problem why there are still confidence issues around the judiciary. And then of course the matter of judgments and the delays and apparent influence on judges to manipulate the outcomes of cases that come before them. That really is where it
Mutegi, is there anything you have to add on that?
I think Sharon Rao admitted that his board and limitations. The way the vetting was done, there are certain things you couldn't touch. So they went through. But to me, the return of the claims of corruption in the entire system, including the Supreme Court, is really undermined the credibility to the extent that Kenyans are wondering, do we have a Supreme Court? Because two judges are, a number of judges are questions, and the president himself is going to retire in June. So what do we have left?
So the overarching question for this morning was how to restore, how to ensure that the judiciary is a credible adjudicator in the run-up to next year's general elections during the polls. What do you think should be done then? Judge Maraga has been presiding over this, the election preparations, but clearly there's still a lot to be done in order to win back the public's confidence. How do we do that?
The solutions are not easy, obviously, but it's about the metal, the substance of the judges themselves, the judicial officers, who must rise up to the occasion. Judges are not ordinary people, even though judges said that they are Kenyans. But they are supposed to be superior Kenyans.
They're not Kenyans. I don't agree. They're not Kenyans.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be Kenyans. That's why they are judges.
Yeah. We'll hold them to a higher standard.
They're different, and we'll hold a higher standard.
I agree entirely that we are supposed to...
Judge, let me allow you to respond to that after the panelists.
Fine.
So I think that they have to really stick out their neck and stick with justice, the cause of justice. And there's a lot of injustice still happening within the judiciary. That one, there's no doubt. Even lawyers themselves confess this judiciary is going back to what it used to be. Those are not good statements to make. And I think it should worry the judiciary that it needs to purge that problem. Then the due process. I mean, expeditious dispatch of cases or matters in court, and an appearance of equality before those courts for every Kenyan. So that, as I said, some cases are going to be before court. Matters which were of 2015 have been concluded. People are in court for the last 6-7 years. That really must be addressed so that confidence in the judiciary as a place to go to sort your mess is restored.
Mutegi?
People asking, why do you hire a lawyer when you can buy a judge? If that perception continues, it is very debilitating to the system.
But how do we solve that, though? What's the solution?
To me, I think
we're going into elections, tensions already rising.
Sharon Rao's suggestion, I think I like it. Get an independent body, not the Judicial Service Commission, to look at this complaint, because they are the judges, they are the magistrates, they are in the Judicial Service Commission. Only a few civilians, like Public Service Commission. If you have an independent body looking at those matters, I think they will be better positioned to do that than the JSC.
Now, Judge, you can respond as you make your final remarks.
If I can start with the last one of Mr. Mutegi about an independent body. You know, we have several professional bodies. You, media people, if I recall, you are saying, the media council, you want self-regulation.
Yes.
When you are complaining about a judge having done this or that, who is the person better placed to understand? To understand what is going on here than a fellow judge?
Maybe a retired judge.
Not a fellow judge.
Just a
fellow lawyer advocate.
Yes.
Just a professional colleague.
Yes. I mean, these professional bodies are self-regulating. The judiciary, I don't think, even if you set up that independent body, you must have judges there.
Yes.
Who have gone through the work, the kind of work that they have done, and so that they are the ones who understand. When you are complaining about delays, a judge will immediately know, well, the delays could have been caused by several other factors, not necessarily because of the court itself. So until the law is changed and that mandate is taken from the Judicial Service Commission, the Judicial Service Commission is there and it is doing a splendid job. I don't know of how many other countries have that independent body, which is
Oversighting
the judiciary. Don't forget, the other important thing is that if you have a body that is going to be overbearing on the judiciary, you will undermine the judicial independence. That you have got to bear. Even as the Kenyans hanker for an independent body, thinking that it will be the one which will do a better job than the Judicial Service Commission is doing, you must bear that in mind. It is not there in other countries. I don't know of any other country which is having that kind of thing. So when we address that, now when you come to the issue of corruption, you know there is perceived corruption. There are people who are saying the judges are corrupt. The Judicial Service Commission is asking, please come forward and give us evidence. Give us evidence. You don't go grumbling in the village that the judiciary is corrupt, and so you are not providing evidence. You are not helping the institution. You are not helping yourself in the first place. Because if you have evidence that Maraga is corrupt or he has done this, bring that evidence and Maraga is removed from there. Somebody else is left to carry on the work. So the perception of corruption, which is of course not only in the judiciary, it is in all these other institutions. You get allegations of corruption everywhere. Let us get evidence, and please bear in mind, the judiciary is doing a lot. The Judicial Service Commission is actually doing a lot. If anything, it is the only institution which is dealing squarely with the corruption, if I can say so, where there are complaints have been made, and there is evidence. You have seen what is being done. Mm-hmm. So what else would they do? Once the complaints are dealt, are lodged, they are addressed, and the Judicial Service Commission is addressing them.
Okay, so you've responded to both David and Mutegi.
Yes.
Have you given us your final remarks?
The final remarks I want to give on the elections especially is that please bear in mind what we have done. Besides the 188 petitions which we completed in record time, there are very many others which came even before elections related to nominations. Some we sent away to the political parties tribunal, some we sent to the parties, and all that. There are criminal cases that came up. The judiciary dealt with those criminal cases that arose from the campaign period, and all that. The judiciary has done a lot. If we are honest to give it an honest assessment, we are not perfect. I'm not saying we are perfect. The judiciary has done a lot. The Kenyans need to be patient with us and bear with us. As I said, raise those complaints where you raise them. And now, if you look at the judiciary now compared with the past, how many times have you had a judge in this kind of show? Very few. The judiciary is open.
It never used to happen.
Actually, no.
It never used to happen.
That's why I'm telling you that this is a transformed judiciary. Yeah. The judiciary is open. When we finished these election petitions and we took those views, I told you we roped in the other stakeholders, the lawyers and the political parties themselves. And they came there and they told us, look, this is where you went wrong, this is where we want. That is in harmony with the constitutional dictates of getting the views of the people, especially when you are recommending legislative amendments. So please bear with us, and where there are cases of complaints, raise them and they will be dealt with.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Very quickly, David.
Yeah, just before the judge leaves, just a quick one. How terribly important is this succession to the Chief Justice? And will you be applying for that position?
No, that is not a question I can answer. That is individual. I can't answer that. I can't answer that.
Okay. And so we thank you. We'll have to end our conversation there. If you want to find out what the judge is planning to do with his future, David, I invite you to speak to him offline. Our time is up. Our thanks to today's guest, Judge David Maraga. He's the presiding judge at the Court of Appeal in Kisumu. He's also the chair of the Judiciary's Committee on Elections, the JCE. We also thank our panelists, Mutegi Njau and David Makali, for their time and questions. And we thank you for watching Cheche. My name is Udwa Kamimo. We'll see you next week.